Welcome to Two Birds, One Stone, a podcast dedicated to the Arizona Cardinals. Today is November 7th, 2021, and we both just witnessed what will forever be known as the James Conner game. The Cardinals go to San Francisco and beat the Niners 31-17. Injuries everywhere. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have Hopkins. And James Conner just put us on his back and took us to the promised land.
What are they going to say now? What's the excuse now?
There are none. There can't be any. That was as impressive. We do this every time there's a big win. But I tweeted it. This is my favorite win of the season so far. Because it's just like you hid behind okay, well, the Kyler's carrying them. Last year they got a hot start. Kyler gets hurt and their team fell apart. Or off to a hot start again. Kyler actually has to miss a game and they just thump a division rival on the road who was gaining momentum after a hot start. The Niners had lost a few in a row. They won last week, and it's like, okay, maybe the Niners are trying to kind of climb back into things in the NFC playoff picture. Have you met Colt McCoy? I guess not, because he said, fuck no, sit down. And Colt McCoy played perfect. We'll get into everything, but yeah, James Conner, 21 carries, which in today's NFL, to have 21 carries in a single game, that's insane. 96 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 5 catches, 77 more yards, and then a touchdown on a long 45-yard screen pass. That really, when that play happened, it was like, okay, we're kind of separating ourselves. This really feels like we can one of those like dominant wins again. But it was fucking awesome to watch. He's been doing it all year. Just that physical like mentality that the Cardinals kind of missed in years
We haven't
past.
had that. We haven't had that for a long time. And yet he's a bruiser. He's just he has so much like hustle and so much pop and so much he's fun to watch. And I think he's probably our best offseason signing for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it changes every other week because there were so many good. None of them missed. Malcolm Butler, R.I.P. Malcolm Butler, dude. Like, haven't heard from him in a while. He's the only one that missed. Matt Prater, very solid in the kicking game. Rodney Hudson, you saw today his impact of him being plugged back into the lineup. The pressure up the middle stops. The run game's is more open whenever he's in the lineup. J.J. Watt, obviously, we're hoping he can come back, but when he was in the game, impactful. AJ Green, like every single vet that they went out and got has worked out. And fuck yeah, Steve Keim. Like everybody loves to give him shit, but he might get an Executive of the Year award this year.
He's done well. He deserves it if he gets it.
Oh, and not to mention Colt McCoy, who obviously we saw today. But like we said, no Kyler. So Colt steps in 22 of 26 for 250 yards and a touchdown. Perfect game. He played a perfect game.
Yep. I think a lot of that can be thrown on. This is the best game I've seen Cliff ever coach in his entire. I mean, that was Cliff also gets a lot of hate. There's been talks of hot seat, especially last season, whenever
going into the year.
Yeah. But this was, I mean, Cliff's a top 5 coach in the league.
Right now we'll get into this later, but like in terms of coach of the year, Cliff Kingsbury probably has the highest odds to win it at this point. I think he should be right at the top.
Yeah,
with what he's went through today. But yeah, no Kyler, no Hop, no AJ, no JJ Watt. Christian Kirk stepped up. He had 6 catches, 91 yards. Like the way that Cliff called the game, especially in the first half, like the beginning, they played it. They didn't play it safe. I won't say that, but a lot of horizontal passes, get the ball out quick, get it into Kirk's hands, get it into Rondale's hands. Zach Ertz, some quick hitters to just get him into a rhythm. And then you hit on big plays. Like he hit Kirk for a 50-yard bomb. And then you throw in the trick little wrinkles where Kirk goes on a reverse and then throws it for 40 yards downfield. Like that's how he just played it perfectly to where he was setting things up all game. Like that might look like just a 3-yard run to the left, but that's really setting up this quick hitter screen to the right and then a play action off of that, all that good stuff. So it was fucking awesome. And he was fired up. He was fired up all day.
It was beautiful. I loved it.
That might have been, that's like top 5 moment of the season when Josh Norman is just running his fucking mouth like he always does. He is all talk and no show.
The only
anymore.
Reason anybody knows his name is because of the shit with Odell. That's the only reason anybody knows his name. Like he was never a top whatever corner in the league. The only reason people know his name is because Odell Beckham got into a confrontation with him.
I think he had like a couple Pro Bowl seasons, so I'll give him that. But yeah, like it's been a few years. Corner's shelf life in the NFL is short, and his prime was, I think, that like 2015 season. Then was he a part of that Panthers team? That's 6 years ago now. So, to see Cliff kind of chirp back at him and go at him, it's like it shows why players enjoy him. Like, he's a fiery guy. It may not always show on the sidelines, but over the last few years, you've seen it a few times where it kind of bubbles to the surface and he gets real hot. But
is Kyle Shanahan on the hot seat after this game?
I'm going to say no, and everybody else will say no, but it's annoying how nobody's talking about Kyle Shanahan. Like, he has a full, healthy team for the most part today, and you get beat by basically the fourth game in a preseason roster. Like, I don't know. You'd have to think about it. They're 4-5 now.
That's a bad loss for him.
Terrible.
Especially
could you imagine being on the other side?
That's a bad loss.
Could you imagine being a Niners fan? Like, that's going into the game, you're like, oh damn, we're 4-4. We got back to 500. We're going against a just demolished Cardinals team. Injuries everywhere. We're at home. Let's get a win in the division. While it should be an easy one, and then it really was not even a game. Like, they just got their asses kicked from the very beginning. So,
and something that we probably should have let off with is the defense is just. I tweeted earlier, they're addicted to getting turnovers. They're fucking good. Like, awesome. No one talks about it's always been the offense. No one really talks about the defense, but the defense is what has been winning us games like this.
Yeah.
Getting stops. And then, you have to obviously throw kudos to the offense for scoring points off of the turnovers, but the defense is Budda Baker's presence with he's so quick and he plays so fast and he comes and hits so hard up the middle, and that I feel has kind of been absorbed by all the younger guys because it feels like everybody just flies around.
You don't see like Budda's, I won't say he's been quiet, but you don't see Budda leading the league in tackles as a safety anymore like he has in the league like in years past. But that's never what a safety's supposed to do. Like that weight's kind of been lifted off his shoulder with the presence of Hicks stepping up a lot this year. Simmons. One thing, I don't want to say anything negative, but Tanner Vallejo is now, I guess, taking snaps ahead of Zaven Collins. Interesting, kind of concerning, but as you're winning, you're not going to worry about what your rookie pick is doing. You obviously want to see him be successful, but if we're putting up W's, it's not something that you need to worry about. But Vallejo, I feel like it seems like he's been around forever. I feel like he's been within the Cardinals for a few years. So, he knows the system that Vance runs. I guess I just feel a little more comfortable with him out there. But I think that had a lot to do with, like, Simmons was playing a lot in like the nickel, kind of following Kittle around. So he wasn't plugged there in the middle like as much as he was in weeks past. Right. So, if you feel more comfortable with Tanner right now than you do Collins, if you're fucking winning by 14 on the road against the Niners, I don't give a shit at all.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Go along with the defense some more. Marcus Golden, 3 sacks today. I think that's his third multi-sack game of the season so far. I think he's at 9 already.
Crazy. He must be listening to the pod. We said at this point it's not a cute story anymore. It's you got to play, and homie played today.
That's exactly what he's doing. And Chandler Jones, again, another person that obviously listens to the show, was quiet in the last, I guess, 7 weeks or whatever since week 1. Got a sack today, passes Freddie Joe Nunn on the Cardinals all-time sack list, number 1 all-time, which is pretty cool. That we've seen it from start to end here. He's over 100 career sacks, I believe, at this time as the Patriots too. So I think we're probably looking at a Hall of Famer in Chandler Jones. Absolutely. So it's probably not too much to say. He's 32, gonna be 32. So he's got a lot of sacks to go still, as long as he stays healthy as he gets older. But we want to see more of that going forward with that combination of Golden and Jones. So that's awesome to see. I was pretty impressed today with our secondary. The Niners have a above average wide receiver core in the league. And I just kind of feel like shit got locked down for the most part. Deebo Samuels is a weapon. There was some breaks here and there, but you also have to remember we have young guys, and Marco Wilson, who's a rookie, and
even Byron still. I mean, he plays a lot older than what he is, but I just think I don't want to hype up. I don't want to hype up the defense too much because I want Vance Joseph to stay, and he's going to get a head coaching offer because he deserves it. But what he's done for the defense has been, I mean, like you can't. I would love to see what it would look like without it. Actually, wouldn't want to see what it look without it. But
so I'm looking at just the team stats for the Niners. So coming off of our only loss of the season, where it kind of felt like we got not exposed, but it's like, okay, that seems like a decent game plan to go in and beat the Cardinals. Run the shit out of the ball, keep Kyler Murray off the field, and don't let those weapons for the Cardinals get on the field and make plays. Stay on the field as much as possible. Granted, we don't have Kyler today, but the Niners offensively, Jimmy G threw it 40 times it was 28 for 40, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Looks good on paper, but it never seemed like he got into a rhythm. There was times where like intermediate throws, like 8 to 12 yards, were kind of hitting. But I tweeted this. Did it not seem to you like there was like an abnormal amount of just big hits over the middle to where like he was kind of just bad throws, kind of hanging his guys out to dry over the middle. And that's not as big of a deal as what it used to be like in the NFL, because big hits are getting flagged and stuff. But I mean, the secondary of the Cardinals was disciplined and not taking unnecessary shots, but they laid some big hits on Kittle, and Ayuk had a couple big ones on him, just because the difference of him throwing the ball just like a foot above the head compared to just right at the chest is the difference of that receiver having to extend or jump a little bit and just kind of exposing him to those big hits. So you could kind of tell as the game went on, like the over the middle shots didn't seem as apparent. But
I think that you definitely have to, whenever you talked about Jimmy G's not feeling like he was ever in a rhythm, I feel like that is just a straight kudos to the pass rush. I just feel like there was pressure in his face all day, and he just never had time to just actually get in a rhythm.
He was sacked 5 times for 30 yards. So we were in his face all day. Like I said, the ground game, like that we talked about, that seemed like that's the way to kind of control the game. The Niners as a team ran the ball 11 times for 39 yards, 3.5 yards a carry.
Really?
That's fucking pitiful. And it seemed like, I mean, like
Mitchell's getting some good. That's
4.5 yards a carry. Yeah, you would never think that after looking at the stat sheet. But yeah, he had 8 carries for 36 yards. So, I mean, I kind of saw a burst whenever he touched the ball. There was a few times where the Cardinals, he broke a couple of tackles like in the backfield where you thought that, or on some screens where you thought that we were going to get a 3-yard loss, and he ends up gaining like 3 or 4. But you would think that you've got, I mean, I know you don't have Raheem Mostert or Trey Sermon was ruled out, but you just saw what the Packers did. Like that's how you can beat the Cardinals. And they just said, Kyle Shanahan, one of the best running scheme coordinators in the NFL. I'm just not going to do that. We're just going to throw everything on Jimmy G's shoulders. And we've seen how that's worked out for the 49ers in the past.
Right.
And it didn't work again today. So, but yeah, we talked about how good James Conner was on the ground. Chase Edmonds, another injury on the very first play of the game, like right out the gate. He goes up the middle, and I think he had a bad ankle. I don't know. I haven't heard anything else about it. I'm assuming it's probably an ankle sprain, but that gave an opportunity to Eno Benjamin to kind of come in the game. And boy, did he truck stick. Who was it? Kirkpatrick. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Our old buddy, Drake Kirkpatrick. Yeah. He just put his shoulder down. It was like it seemed like every time he touched the ball, you could tell it's a guy that like finally got an opportunity. It just seemed like he had that extra energy.
He's a fan favorite. He went to Arizona State, so
ASU.
So ASU. So I mean, it's good to see a hometown kid kind of his first real showing as an Arizona Cardinal kind of make that kind of play was kind of cool.
Yeah, he had 9 carries for 39 yards in that touchdown, that 21-yard touchdown. So that was super cool to see. I think he might be more involved in the return games going forward.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And this is not against Rondale. He's electric. But whenever a guy's kind of had a couple
needs to clean it up
iffies where it's like, okay, he's a rookie. It's fine. Let's just shelf him maybe for a couple games or even a few punt returns or kick returns and let him get his head right and stuff, because that's 2 muffed punts. Today it ended up being fine. Was it a muff punt or did he fumble? I think he fumbled 2.
Yeah,
he bobbled. I know he bobbled.
He bobbled one and picked it up, and that was fine. But then he fumbled once.
They ruled him down, but yeah, he lost the ball. It's like, okay, that's fine. Like I said, love him, electric as can be, but let's shelf him for a game and just kind of let him get his head right. And I think is perfectly capable, especially in kick return. I don't know if I've ever seen him on punt return. That sounds stupid to say. You think it's the same thing, but I feel like it's a little different. Like
it's much different,
position. But yeah, played awesome when he was able to get into the game. The Cardinals as a whole, I think, let's see, they ran 39 carries for 163 yards, 4.2 yards a carry, and 3 touchdowns. Like, you do that, you're not going to lose very many games.
It's a versatile game. It's nice to see our versatility, because we can go out there, obviously with a healthy Kyler, and throw for 350, 400 plus yards or whatever, but then also to be able to run the ball like that, I feel is kind of what separates a good team from a Super Bowl caliber team, the ability to be able to do both.
Just stay within like the top 10 in rushing stats. Yeah. And I feel like that the Cardinals will be in very good shape if they do that. Overall, 437 yards of total offense, another 30-point game. I mean, outside of the first time they played the Niners, putting up 17, and then I guess 21 against the Packers, it's like 30 plus every single other game. So love to see that. We can get into, let's go with 2 birds, 1 stone player of the week. We have another first-time winner. Marcus Golden made it tough. Marcus Golden almost became the first ever repeat winner of the 2 birds, 1 stone player of the week. But we have to give it to James Conner. This was in fact the James Conner game. It'll be remembered for years beyond today as the James Conner game. He was fucking awesome. We talked about it a lot already.
He moved into first. He has the most rushing touchdowns, right?
Leading the league in total touchdowns. Not even just
That's
rushing.
crazy. That's crazy. And as our second back, our complimentary back.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A lot of it seemed like I love Chase Edmonds when he's healthy and everything, but to see what he did today as like somebody that did get 20 plus carries, and you can really, I don't know if I would ever question that he could carry the load, but he definitely showed today that he can, even with just, I guess, like I said, only had 9 carries. So it's not like anybody was really spotting him like Chase and James in the week games before. But so player of the week, James Conner, good shit. Did you have a successful betting weekend?
I did. I only threw 1 parlay today.
Okay.
Let me pull it up here real quick. So I had the Browns, Giants, and Cardinals all money line, 20 to win 253, and that hit. So Browns, I'm back Cardinals, in the green. Giants. Yep. Oh, I'm back in the green. It's good. It's a good feeling. You threw a bet, didn't you, this week?
Yeah. Remember how I said I retired? I really enjoyed, I really liked a couple games going into this week. So I unretired, and it was a mistake. I should have stayed retired. I had the opposite of a game that you picked. I had the Raiders -3 against the Giants. I thought that they would cover. I don't know. The Raiders had won me money earlier in the year, and I like them, especially since Gruden's been gone. They were 2-0 without Gruden. Seemed to be clicking, and the Giants just fucking suck. They're a disgrace of an organization, but they won today, so that killed it. But I also had the Chargers -1. They ended up winning by 3 on a last-second field goal over the Eagles, which I'm backing off of my Chargers. The Chargers were like my AFC team. The Chargers were really good. They went into Philly, Philly was coming off of a big dog shit kicked the Lions 44-6 last week, but the Eagles are not a good football team. The Chargers go on the road, which I guess a long flight, West Coast to East Coast, tough travel week, I guess. But to win on a last-second field goal at the end is like, they've really kind of like slipped from where they were.
I've been on the Chargers aren't that good train for most of the season, and it's coming to. I haven't bet on the Chargers really at all, and it's. I think people need to start listening to me.
So they're 5-3. The Raiders are now, they're 5-3. The Raiders are now what? 5-3 too, because they were 5-2. The Chiefs are, I think the Chiefs are 5-4 because they haven't had their bye yet. They just beat the Packers. Yes. Oh, we should probably talk about that. We'll get to that in a second. But so they beat the Packers today. So the NFC or AFC West is pretty wild. Everybody's sitting at 5-4, 5-3. And then I also had the Cardinals money line. So I felt like if I'm going to come out of retirement and place a bet, I had to pick the Cardinals to win. And I did. And that part didn't disappoint. It was the goddamn Raiders. So, yeah, maybe I'll go back into retirement. Maybe I won't. Sue me if I don't. You guys have – I don't owe you anything. If I want to place a bet, I will. But like I mentioned a second ago, the Packers lost. So that brings them to 7-2. Negates we're a full game ahead of them, whether they have the tiebreaker over us or not. The Cowboys lost. They're now 6-2. They got the shit kicked out of them by the Broncos at home today. Did you watch any of that game?
I watched a little bit of the red zone on it, but all these analysts putting the Cowboys as their number 1-2. I never got it. I don't get it. But
it'll always be that way to the end of time.
Yeah, probably so.
If the Cowboys have any success early in the season or have any talent on their roster, people will be, the fucking Cowboys.
I think this coming week, you'll see the Cardinals probably jump back up to the number 1 spot in most places.
A strong argument to be made. I mean, with the Bucs losing last week, the Cowboys going down, Packers going down. You may see the Rams jump us if they beat the Titans badly.
I could see the Packers still being at 1 for some people just because of the fact that Rodgers was not playing today. But they made it a game with the Chiefs, but I think it's obviously cheap because the Chiefs aren't having a year this year. But
we can get in. I wanted to kind of talk about the Cowboys. We'll jump over to the Packers-Chiefs game because there's 2 quarterbacks that everyone – Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes. We'll start with Dak. Today, his stat line, he was 19 of 39 for 230 yards, a couple touchdowns and a pick. 19 of 39. That's incredibly bad. At one point, he was like 7 for 22. Like just a tough day for Dak Prescott. I mean, and it's a Vic Fangio Broncos defense. Vic was like the defense coordinator for those really good Bears teams with Trubisky or whatever. So he's a good defensive mind, but to have a showing like that is tough coming off of injury. I guess this is his first game back since he missed that game against the Vikings, but that was very ugly. The Dak MVP talk might kind of come down a little bit after that. So they lose a game. So we'll be above. We'll be number 1 in the NFC now because even if the Rams lose tonight, we'll have that tiebreaker. The Chiefs, I just said, yes, they beat the Packers 7-13. And even if like with Rodgers out, I thought it was still going to be kind of like both defenses are bad or not bad. The Packers defense is pretty solid, but you'd think that there'd be points scored, especially even with Jordan Love in at quarterback. I almost wanted to bet on this game. And I probably would have bet on the Packers, but because just the Chiefs defense is so bad. But Patrick Mahomes today, 20 of 37, 166 yards, an average attempt of 4.5 yards, which is less than half of what Murray's average passes are for reference, and then a touchdown and 0 picks.
I've held out all season. Oh, there's still the Chiefs and still Patrick Mahomes. I think I'm done with them. Like, I think I'm off they're the Chiefs. They're the top dog. I think that is definitely, it's weird to say after they win, but I don't think they're that good no more. I don't know.
It's not. You almost learn more about them in a bad way off of this win than you did off of their win last week, like when they beat the Giants. That was an ugly win. Very unimpressive. This one hideous as well. With the Bills also losing to the fucking Jaguars 6-9.
Yeah.
That also knocked, we're in a survival pool or whatever. We both had the Bills this week. So we both are kicked out. So that sucks. But the Bills are now 5-3. It was a very weird week in the NFL. And I think the Cardinals
I feel like it's kind of been like that for the past couple weeks. I feel like there's been some weird upsets and some weird play by the teams that are considered the top 5, top 6 teams in the league. It's just been kind of a weird past couple weeks.
A lot of parity. The Browns kicking the shit out of the Bengals after the Browns were just so down. They finally get Odell off their team, and now they go in and they won 41-16 on the road in Cincinnati. I mean, the Patriots beating the Panthers 24-6.
I think the Patriots might be
That's not
real.
that surprising. They're a good team. They're a very solid
I feel like
team.
they're going to be a good team. Yeah. Mac Jones is the perfect quarterback for their offense. I feel he just plays within the system, and I'm looking forward to see Belichick kind of let him loose a little bit and see how he actually is.
I think he's like top 7 or 8 in completion percentage. Like he's been very like efficient when he doesn't make some mistakes like rookies do. He hasn't looked like one. The Saints, after beating the Bucs last week, they lose today to the Falcons, like on the last second field goal. Like, just seems like nobody's being able to build momentum. So that just makes our win today that much more like important. Yeah. Like when teams are kind of falling down, to be able to push through like we did today against, I would say, an average team at least. I wouldn't say San Fran's a bad team, but with all the pieces that we're missing to go to 8-1 is pretty impressive. So
yeah. So next week, it's Panthers week.
I fucking hate the Panthers.
So scary Panthers week.
He said they just lost to the Patriots at home. If Sam Darnold's playing, I think we might be okay. Like PJ Walker plays or whoever they have, it's like, okay, that's kind of scary. Because Sam Darnold is, I saw a tweet, that meme of the horse where like this end is like drawn beautifully and everything. And then just like halfway through, it's like a stick horse. It's like Sam Darnold at the beginning of the year or first 3 games versus the rest of the season for Sam Darnold. It's like they started 3-0 and everybody was like, oh my gosh, Adam Gase is terrible. Look at Sam Darnold and what he's doing. He's been just a turnover machine. I think he threw another 2 picks today.
I think his numbers for the year, he's 166 of 273 for 1,800 yards with 7 touchdowns and 8 picks. So it's not, you don't want to see those numbers flop like that for sure. They will have
Robbie
a fully
Anderson
healthy. No,
on the sideline. He was. Robbie Anderson was pissed. It was one of those things. Like Sam Darnold just threw a pick 6, and then they get back on the field. First play, throws another pick. So like just terrible sequence. You see Darnold kind of set his helmet on the side and he's putting on his hat. Robbie Anderson's just walking like in front of him, just like cussing at him as he's walking by. Gets back, and then Sam's kind of standing. Then he's just looking at him, yelling at him as he walks by again. And it's like, you don't like that because they've known each other for a long time. They go back to the Jets days, so it's like, that's you don't want Robbie Anderson turning on you. That's like should be your main like comfort blanket, Robbie Anderson. Right.
He's probably fed up with the shit. He hasn't had a good career. He hasn't.
He fell off.
Also, I guess what the Panthers do have going for him is they had McCaffrey back this week. I have him on my fantasy team. He wasn't 100%. He didn't get as many touches as what I was anticipating him to. So I feel next week he'll be full go for sure. So that's good for them, not good for us. But still, they have Sam Darnold as your quarterback, and as you can see, they lost to the Patriots today pretty badly. So pretty confident going in.
We'll be at home though. You want to guess? You want to guess the line?
Sure. Well, it's tricky. Is Kyler going to be playing? I assume.
This is assuming Kyler's playing.
Okay. I would say let's do 8.5.
-10. Cardinals at home. Cardinals are 8-1. They're also 7-2 against the spread. So good teams win and great teams cover. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, like we'll see about all the injuries again. Like I said, we're coming back home. From what everyone's kind of gathered and what you read, Kyler should be able to play next week. I really don't know about Hopkins with a hamstring. I have no idea. I feel like those are the weirdest injuries between like severity. You never can tell. Right. So we'll see about that. Chase Edmonds, who knows with his ankle. Yeah. Shoulder.
AJ Green will be back next week.
I would assume if he's vaccinated, he should only have to miss a game. And I think he probably is. And then JJ, we'll see. I guess they placed he's on IR. So all of the hope, they kind of got our hopes up there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks where he was hurt and he missed games, but he wasn't on IR. We talked about it last week on the podcast. Like, okay, maybe he's delaying surgery and he might seek different treatment, play through it. They did put him on IR today or yesterday. So that means he has to miss 3 games. That doesn't necessarily mean surgery. So who knows? Maybe he'll sit these 3 out, rehab it, and then come back. But it would be awesome to have him back, as we all know. But yeah, let's just get healthy, get back on track. It's good to get on track and get healthy and win at the same time. And that's what we're able to do today. So good shit.
Yep.
Really.
You love to see it. Heal up, boys. That's all I can say.
Put some of that ice around your neck, Kyler, that you wore today, and place that on your ankle. That was good what I said. But I didn't like why was he on his standing all game? Like, you could see him kind of walking around limping. Go sit on the bench.
He's
kick
antsy.
Your feet up. Kick your feet up. We'll be fine. No need to be antsy. We're up 2 scores all game. Okay.
Do you love the new hair? The new hair? Do you love it?
I don't know. I
like it.
The dreads and the braids is a great look. I liked that though too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks good. I
It
like
almost looked like he might have trimmed it a little bit. Like,
he probably did clean it up a bit.
He knew he wasn't going to have his helmet on today. So he's like, I'm going to go get this cleaned up a little bit. He's always drippy. Yeah. He's always drippy. He had a Cardinals team hoodie on, but he had it cut down the middle. Yeah. So his chains were hanging out. Yeah. Kyler is a certified baller, and we need him back just for the fun. It's not the same. That was the first game we've watched in 2 years without Kyler as a starting quarterback. It's like, oh, you miss our little buddy running around out there, but we want him to be healthy. So
we need him healthy for the stretch. That's all that matters.
He'll be back. So next week we have the Panthers. Following that is a game in Seattle. We'll see if Russ is around or not. They had a bye week this week.
I believe so.
11, 14. Seahawks had a bye week, so they didn't play this week. We'll get them in week 11. I don't know about Russ. I almost have a feeling he'll be back by then.
I don't know. I think his pregame little training is probably going to help him a bunch.
How cringy.
Yeah.
What a weird dude. At least Kyler at least is a cool guy. Seems like a fun guy to hang out with. Yeah. Russ is like just a cringy.
He's like
Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah. It's almost like if someone like wrote a book or like made a movie about like a quarterback. Like
he wants to be that so bad. Like he wants to be Tom Brady. I think.
Yeah.
No, but he doesn't want to be cool. Yeah, he doesn't want to be Buccaneers Tom Brady. He wants to be Patriots Tom Brady. Like not the funny, cool commercials and stuff that Tom does now. He wants to be like Patriots buttoned up, like serious, like weird.
It's not. He doesn't look good on him.
He doesn't play. It doesn't work.
He's too handsome to act like that.
Weird.
He needs to have some fun.
I don't like it. And then after Seahawks week, we have a bye week, so that'll be cool. Week 12 and then week 13, Chicago in December. That'll be cold.
Sure.
And then Rams on Monday night, part 2. So that's kind of the upcoming stretch. And I don't expect to lose any of those games as long as we have Kyler. Or fuck it, even if we have Colt. Hey, you get shut up. You know who had their day today? Whose day today was?
Yeah.
At Reese Furlow, dude.
Yeah.
Today was your day, Reese.
Smell the roses.
You called it so long ago. You called it in the offseason. You said, at some point, Colt McCoy will be this team starter. Guess what, motherfuckers? Colt McCoy was his team starter today, and he went out and balled out. Shout out to Reese Furlow, dude. Let's clap it up for Reese.
Congrats, man.
There you go, Reese. Let's go. Good shit. I love that. I just remember that. That's so funny. So good for Reese. Good for all the Colt McCoy stands out there. You love to see it. We all love to see it. But next week we'll be back talking about the game and all of the fun things as we do every week. So thank you all for listening. Garrett, is there anything that you'd like to say that you didn't really feel like you got a chance to say?
Nope. Just need to focus on healing up. Get Kyler healthy, get the boys right, as they say.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Okay, we'll be back next Sunday night. Until then, go Birds.